not the best, and we have had a few minor issues getting stuck in a few places, and don't want to get police trucks stuck anywhere and not be able to help people. So we have increased the tire. So that's the difference in price, just a little bit there. So with your approval, I'd like to get that truck ordered. It's in our budget. Just like to get that ordered so we can get that in as quickly as possible.
Is there any questions for Joey?
I'll move to approve the bid for the sheriff's department's truck at $27,730.
Before I second that, I got a quick question, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
The council's been giving you $40,000 a year for vehicles. At this rate, you won't be able to buy another one.
Yeah.
Unless you get it really cheap.
Yeah. The second vehicle we're planning on buying this year is probably going to be another Impala to replace our transport vehicle. He's nearing 200,000 miles on it. Ryan Young, he's going all over the state, picking up prisoners, bringing them back and forth to court, taking them to prison. So that's actually what I was doing on the computer, was looking up different Impalas throughout the state to try to replace that vehicle. So looking to fit that price range, probably 12 to 13,000 to the remaining amount. So that's what we'll be doing with the rest of that budget.
So you anticipate one truck and one car for the year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve the quote from Reedman's on the truck. Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank
Thank
very
you,
much.
Sheriff.
Have a good day.
Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good afternoon. I want to begin by extending a compliment to the Commissioners. Not that you need it from me, but I feel compelled to do so. Thank you for changing the time to 2 in the afternoon. I appreciate it. I think this is very, very good. What I wanted to discuss or just bring up briefly was some of the things that we're doing regarding quality of place. And I'll just read a little short definition. It's from Government, Community, and Local Government in 2009. Quality of place has been defined as the physical characteristics of a community, the way it is planned, designed, developed, and maintained that affect the quality of life of people living and working in it and those visiting it both now and in the future. Some of the things we've been doing lately, one of the things you may be aware of that we're in the planning process. We started last year, but then I don't think we got weathered out. I just don't think we knew what we wanted to do. There's a group from the Main Street program, Discover Connersville, that is searching for a way to better identify, I don't know if it'll identify and help pedestrian traffic, visitors find points of interest, historical places, restaurants, and so forth. But that is one of the goals, that we make attractive, novel graphics on the street in the crosswalk area, which we've got permission from the city to do, specifically over by the museum and the depot, over by the Art Association, the Canal House, and probably down here on 5th and Central. Those are the 3 that we're going to concentrate on first, that will show in a very graphic, artistic way where these locations are. Our hope is that it will be executed to the point where it will create its own little news blurb and create a little activity on its own for people to come see the cool stuff that's on the streets that directs you to either the railroad or the museum or the Art Association or the Canal House or a particular restaurant. We're still kind of debating on the particular restaurant. It may just be restaurants this direction or that direction, because that is subject to change. These historical places will not. So we want to make sure we give clear direction and kind of a novel, neat, cool, trendy way. And we're looking at other towns and what they've done to do that. Short of that, we're also participating and helping out with trails, and also working with the UEA, the Urban Enterprise Association, for this part of Connersville, which falls in the middle of that zone. That is also where I read about Quality Place, mimics some of the goals of improving the zone's appearance. We've changed some of the qualifying rules for residents in the zone to get monies to help, not just in painting, which is what it used to be. It was a paint program which we bought the paint, you did the paint. That's still available, but more so now it's facade. If you got a porch, the front of your home, siding, up to about $2,500 a pop. If you got $5,000 worth of work, we'll pay half up to that amount. And we probably had a record number of people that came and asked for money last year that we wrote out a lot of checks to and did a lot of improvements. Some of them right downtown. One of them, if you look at the windows on the gray rental apartment over here on 5th and Central, you can see some of that zone money that went to help the appearance and certainly energy saving and so forth on that. So that's basically my report, to tell you that some of our emphasis for this coming year is going to be quality of place and how we can help. That's not to say that we're not still on our, which I know you get tired of hearing me say this like a broken record, and that's retention, attraction, and expansion of existing businesses in Connersville. We're still all over that. That's kind of my report, and to let you know what we're looking toward in 2019. And I'll sit down unless you guys have any questions for me.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Craig.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
All right, how are you? Right off the top, the first of the week, one of you is aware of it, that we had a compressor at the jail. It belonged to Johnson's. It was just a backup. It blew up. So we had to replace it with another standby compressor because we're 2 weeks out on the main compressor. But the one I got to install is a little over $1,000. But the reason it went over to $1,000 is I had to have pals come in and put a transformer in to go to 230 volts. But it's in, and it'll stay there. It'll stay in the basement. If we ever need it again, it's a backup. I can use it to blow filters. It's something we can always use. The only other thing I have is Johnson Controls contract expired December 31st, and I couldn't get to the meetings. I was out. And to renew the contract, gotta get my eyes on. Last year was $15,587, and this year it's let me make sure I get this right. $16,536. Difference of, I think it was $366. But they want to offer us a 3-year contract, which I think is a good idea. If we do the 3-year contract, they'll keep the first year the same as last year. The second year will go to $16.54, and the third year will go to $16.36. No, $16,536. That's a difference of $583. We'll save money going 3 years and not having to renew it every year. But it's your call.
Do you see any downside to that, Bill?
No, it's all the same. I went through it. Matter of fact, I got it all right here. And I think Jane has a copy of it.
Jane
So-
sent us a PDF version of it. I read through them.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, there's nothing, they never took anything out.
Yeah. You're the guy that has to deal with them.
Well, Johnson Controls has been here for the last 10 years. I've had no trouble with them. If I had, I'd have come here and said, let's get somebody else. And I've called around, I've checked around, they can't compete with them. So,
Normally they're pretty good response too.
Yeah, I recommend them. Because the service is great. I don't have any problem with them. If I need them, they're here.
Yeah.
They take care of all of our controls. So, I have no problem with it at all.
I'll move to approve the 3-year contract with Johnson Controls.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded that we approve a 3-year agreement with Johnson Controls at the prices given by Bill. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
That's all I have. Jane, I just need, when you get that signed, I need a copy so I can fax it to them. Thank you.
Thank you. We have three.
See you, mate.
Mr. Baker.
Sent you a copy of a contract with Consolidated Hardware Support, their parent company of VIA. VIA is the company that helps the police department, the sheriff's department, and 911. Helps all of our, they back up our hardware, our CAD hardware, and some backup of data. Something that is split 3 ways.
The invoice that we're looking at, is that our share?
That's our third, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is a year's contract?
This is a year's
For the
contract.
1969-73.
Right.
And if you, correct me if I'm wrong, what they basically do, they look after our hardware.
Look after our
Spillman looks after our service agreement, looks after the software side.
after the software. They're also, they have a little bit of data that they store in a server too,
Okay.
stuff like that. On the bright side, I believe in the next year or two, the way Spillman is evolving, I think that it might not be something that's necessary in a year or two. But because other versions coming down the pike essentially do the same thing. But we'll see. I haven't had that confirmed yet.
Are there any other questions for Dave?
I read that over the weekend and can't find anything that's unusual about it.
It's kind of cut and dry.
I mean, you know, we've been doing this over there for a long time, Dave.
Right.
So it's one of the things, one of the costs of doing business in your department.
That's correct.
I entertain a motion to approve the contract now.
I'll move to approve the VIA contract.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the VIA contract as presented. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You'll be having your annual report soon?
First meeting of February.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
Things are going well in the assessor's office. We've spent the last couple of weeks finishing mobile homes assessments and processing that data. We'll have mobile home notices and personal property forms mailed out by the 1st of February. Right on schedule. I just came today to inform the board that the assessor's office would like to, over the next 5 weeks, would like to close the office in a couple of afternoons for in-house training and maybe a whole day for some reorganization. I'm working with IT right now to, we're just going to move the furniture differently. We want to put all the filing cabinets in a special place where everything's in order. Currently we have filing cabinets all over the place, different ones, and you know, you can't just go down the line, you have to go to a different room. So there's a better way to use the space, and that's what we're looking to do. I don't know the protocol for that, if I need to inform or some kind of public notice or.
Jeff, the training, is it a yearly thing that you're going to
No,
want to
this
do,
will
or is this just
just be
initial training?
initial training? There's more to our software that we've not used, and I just met with the vendors last week, and I want to go through some training with the staff over there. And I think there's more we can do in-house for the future, and this will be the first step.
Do you have any dates picked out for your?
Tentatively, I'm looking at a half day on the afternoon. Try to stick with the courthouse tradition of some of the offices closing Thursday afternoon. So it's a Thursday, it'd be like January 31st, be the first day. Possibly a whole day on February 7th. That's my goal, to move the furniture. But that could be a half day. And then I don't know if we'll need a third day, but that would be sometime between February 14th and the 28th. I should have a new employee, and we may not need to close, but I don't know for sure.
What was those last dates you gave?
At least a half day between the 14th of February and the 28th.
14th and 28th?
Yes.
Okay.
I got no complaint about it. When you know for sure, you might let Bob Hanson know, and if he chooses to make a public announcement about
Absolutely,
it in the newspaper,
yeah.
that might save somebody a trip to the
Yeah,
courthouse.
we don't want to, some people are used to us being open all the time.
Trip,
so,
yeah.
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 I'll move to approve the training day times.
I'll second the motion to approve Jeff's training day closures.
There's been a motion made and seconded that we approve Jeff's requests on these training days. And is there any other questions for Jeff or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Dudley? How are you, Michelle? Thank you.
The first thing that I need to advise of is that the grant application for community corrections, jail treatment, prosecutors diversion, and drug court, they just sent out the applications this morning, and I'm just here to ask for permission for all 4 entities to apply for the grant. Again, that's the grant that for the new 2 probation officers and an administrative assistant, that all of drug court, all of jail treatment, and the prosecutor's diversion. So I just need permission for us to apply.
I'll move to approve all 4 grants.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the application process of the 4 grants through community corrections. Is there any other questions for Michelle on that subject?
Michelle, do you anticipate any additional funding for the new grant year?
I know that drug court is going to ask for another position for an assistant or case manager type position. We just had an advisory board meeting today, and the judge did say he was going to ask for more. I'm not sure about prosecutor or probation. I think their probation will probably just ask for what continued funding, and I may ask for another position simply because it doesn't hurt to ask. In our caseload, one day last week we actually had 110 bracelets on, so caseload is almost quadruple what it was. So I'll probably ask for a position. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't.
But most likely, nothing but positions would be the change.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, everything would be the same. The only thing would be additional positions if they're granted.
if they're granted.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Not for me.
All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
And the next thing I have is a lot of our appointments ended for advisory board on December 31st. So I need to have the reappointments for victims advocate, which is Michelle Richardson, ex-offender, which is Danny Floyd, probation officer Orland Foster, educational administrator Scott Collins, and the lay minority for Adrian Ellis. Those would be reappointments, and they're for 4-year terms. And new appointments needed. 2018 legislation created 2 more appointments to that board. A juvenile CASA rep, which I'd like to be Sherry Tandy, and juvenile probation, which is Jenna Turner. And then 2 lay positions were up, and those were held by Mel Wadle and Sharon Cranfield. Neither one, they very rarely come to the meetings, and I'd like for the board to appoint Diana Wilson and Jane Downer, because the grant process is getting larger and a lot more involved, and Diana has a major role in all 4 grants, and so does Jane. The second sheet attached to that that's in color is the complete advisory board list. The ones in yellow need reappointed, and the 2 green are new positions that were created in 2018 legislation.
Okay. Michelle, I thought the email you sent me, the juvenile probation you had open.
It is open,
Okay.
but Jenna Turner is the only juvenile probation officer.
She is the only
Yes,
juvenile officer.
yes.
Now, in the past, one of the commissioners have said, but the statute that I've got a hold of doesn't allow, or doesn't have an opening for a commissioner on it.
Right. Frank Jackson is the 4th lay position.
Yeah.
And he was on it when he was a commissioner, and he was appointed for a 4-year term.
So, I mean, we've always had, within our commissioners' board appointments, community corrections as being one of them, for one of the commissioners to sit on. And I got to researching the code, and I thought, well, it doesn't allow.
It doesn't, Frank, to
commission.
my knowledge, Frank is the first commissioner that sat on it.
Yeah.
And I asked for him to be appointed.
So,
With his-
I just wanted to make sure that I was reading it
Right.
correctly.
Right, and
That-
council has always had someone on there.
Which that is an appointment by the commissioners,
Mm-hmm.
according to the statute, is one of the council members. Okay. Do we want to take these under advisement and put out, I know I've got a couple of people that have spoke interest in lay positions as well, and I'd like to make sure.
Well, this sheet here,
Yeah,
this would be the current list of your complete board. That's all the members and all positions.
yes.
And some of them have to be on there by virtue of a position they already hold, right?
Yes.
When the statute talks about a victim or a victim advocate, what do they mean? I mean, what constitutes a victim
Someone who has been a victim of crime.
of any crime? Crime that they're convicted. The convicted person went through the system, or
No, a victim advocate is what the CASA office is. Michelle Richardson is a victim advocate.
advocate.
If you're a victim of crime, they send you a letter for restitution in some cases,
Okay.
or for like a victim impact statement. So someone who's been a victim of a battery or
Okay,
a
that's fine.
burglary that where that's went through court and you've got a conviction. And,
Because the statute says that it could be a victim or a victim advocate.
right.
Okay.
And she was on the board when I came over. Almost all of them were. I had asked for Sharon and Mel, because at that time Mel was running the 1 cent homeless shelter. And we were kind of working together on that. And I had Frank appointed as a lay because there wasn't any on there. There was no ex-offender, so I asked for Danny. The rest of them were on there. Jenna was on there as chief probation officer, and then Orland took her spot, and Russ Hodges was on as the admin, and then when he retired, Scott. Yeah.
Stepped up there.
And I had asked for Jennifer a couple months ago, and you guys had approved that after Dr. Nesbitt passed.
So do we want to act on this today, or?
I don't care. I mean, you've got you have 2 new lay positions. Do I understand that right? Or there's just 2 new people.
2 new
I'm
people?
asking for 2 new because the ones that are currently in there
Aren't
very, very, right, very, very seldom show.
Okay.
And in the next,
Well, those 2 people are in the room right now. Let's just find out. Jane, are you willing to serve on this? Okay. Diana, you willing to serve on this? Okay. She takes care of them 2. Frank's position is not vacant.
Adrian's
yet.
is.
Adrian's is. Scott Collins would be, well, he took Russell
he was at the
Hodges'
meeting
position.
today, yeah.
Yeah, he was there today.
Yeah, he comes.
Yeah, I know Orland is there every meeting.
Yes. Michelle is there every meeting. Danny is there every meeting. And it's
Okay.
really hard to fill that position.
I find no fault with your lineup myself.
I appreciate that. And we're gonna have special meetings because coming up here recently, because those grants normally are due January 31st. And I don't know when they're gonna be due this year. The whole grant process has changed. So we'll have to have meetings because that board has to approve the grants and prioritize funding.
Is there a motion?
You see anything wrong with it, Norm?
No, I think we ought to go ahead and approve it. I'll move to approve the board as listed.
Okay, I'll second the motion to approve the suggested appointments to the Community Corrections Board.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the recommendations of Michelle for the advisory board. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you. The last thing is you've got the cover page from 2 applications that I've received in the last 2 weeks. I have interviews scheduled for this week with those 2. I have not interviewed them yet, but I just wanted to put them, get them approved for potential hires for part-time positions. For it would be facility officers.
Have they already passed all the necessary background checks?
I've looked at the backgrounds, but I have not interviewed them. I have interviews scheduled this week, but I need to get positions
But as far
filled.
as background checks?
Yeah.
They're.
Yes,
Can we approve them with her approval?
I'm sorry?
Can we approve them with her approval?
I think so.
I'll move to go ahead and approve them with Michelle's approval.
At her discretion.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve these 2 potential hirees for the Community Corrections Department with Michelle's approval on them after interviewing. Is there any other questions for Michelle on the issue? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle. Ms. Witt,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Had a couple things. This past week, I met with a vendor on getting a credit card machine in the clerk's office. The one we're looking at is with Bridge Payment. It's a wireless machine, very simple to use. It allows us to charge a fee to the patron who's using it. It calculates it right in. So if the fee's $100, they charge 3.5%. They're going to charge the $3.50, real quick and easy. Not anything we're going to have to add or do anything different. It's going to be a wireless machine, so we can move it around as needed. They can put it in the next couple weeks. I've met with actually a couple of different vendors, and theirs probably had the best, I guess, benefits for our county as far as it's not going to cost us anything. It's going to throw all costs back on anyone who chooses to utilize it. We're not going to be out having to pay for wiring and stuff like that. Michael has met with them as well. He came in. So I'm requesting approval to get that process started.
And what payments would be taken by credit card then?
We can take anything but child support,
That's what I was.
and we just state mandates that we can't take child support by credit card. We can do cash only.
So all the court costs?
All
and-
court costs, all judgments, any kind of traffic tickets or anything like that we'll be able to take. And the hope is that, I mean, we have a lot of people come in and they want to pay, but we don't take a credit card. So when we tell them there's an ATM across the road, they leave and don't come back.
I see.
So the hope is it's going to get our money in quicker. And you know, money for anyone who's waiting on a judgment or anything like that.
So this will be the first time we'll ever be able to pay fines or fees in your office by credit card?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that'd be more convenient for a lot of people.
Yeah. And the nice thing about this machine is too, when we run reports, it's going to break it down by the cause number for our bookkeeper. So makes it quick and easy for her to post payments. We recoup the payment within 2 days.
So
48.
It makes all the book entries for you?
Mhm.
Or, okay, well, that's cool. And you say the machine is going to be free?
The machine is free, maintenance is free. Bridge Payment services the tri-state area, so everything would be free to us. We would pay nothing for the machine.
That's unusual.
Mhm. And if we get them and realize we don't like them, we can opt out at any time. We're month to month with them.
So basically, we won't be approving a contract then, it'll be,
Yeah, not per se.
it's not a length of contract?
It's not a length of contract, right?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like an improvement to me.
Do we have credit card services anywhere else in the county system?
We have credit card services in the treasurer's office. They use Freedom Pay. We also have credit card services in probation.
And it's Freedom Pay, or is it the
It's
same?
GovPay. It's GovPay.
Okay. Is there a reason why we went, you're thinking to go to a different company, or is there I mean, I'm sure you researched the other two.
I have looked at the other two, and I've had Michael, our IT guy, look. And this seems to be the best option. The simplicity, like I said, of the machine. We're not gonna have to worry about service. I know the treasurer's office has had some issues with their machine,
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah.
The only thing important to me is that it works well for the clerk and her staff, as well as the patrons that use the service up there. And if you're satisfied, I'm happy.
Yeah, we were very pleased. They actually brought in a machine, a mock machine. We got to look at that, and I really like the machine, and I think it'll be easy to use.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the credit card proposal for the clerk's office.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded that we approve a credit card contract with the clerk's office and, I'm sorry.
Bridge payment.
Bridge payment. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Okay. And then, not on your agenda, by me taking office on January 1st, we lost a position in the clerk's office. Our circuit court has no one in that chair right now. I have interviewed someone and would like to request approval to hire.
Do you have that name, or do you have that information that we?
The name, Angela Gibson.
What was her name again?
Angela Gibson.
Angela Gibson.
She has worked in Superior Court before. She's coming from Rush County Courthouse.
Oh, you mean we hired someone away from another county?
She lives in Fayette County.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're bringing someone back.
Back?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Now,
said
is
we
this gonna
didn't
be
pay
like
enough.
doing
Yeah.
This is gonna be like doing the 144?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move to approve the 144 for Angela Gibson.
I'll second the motion.
It's motion made and properly seconded to approve the 144 request. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Michael, do you have anything for us today?
Just real quick.
Yeah, make it real quick.
I had a vendor come yesterday and look at the cameras at the jail. Got a quote of roughly $28,000 to replace the DVRs. No idea where that money's going to come from yet. It's not really an IT thing. It's more of a jail kind of thing. I'm going to try to get some other vendors in here to give quotes, but it's something that we pretty much have to do. If not this year, then definitely by next year. But the sooner the better. I mean, these things are 12, 13 years old.
Wasn't we talking about adding some options if we updated the cameras? Maybe
Well, the
having
system.
vocal or listening to pick up.
I haven't even looked at that yet. Right now, it's just replace the recorders to work with what we've got.
This is just the recorders.
Just
this
the
is
recorders.
Not the cameras.
Just not the cameras, just
Okay.
the recorders. And they actually gave a quote for the whole control system of $140,000 additional to that. And that would integrate the whole thing, replacing Stanley. That's one of the businesses they do.
140?
140 plus the 28 for the recorders.
Plus
The recorders is what we really need. That's the we have to have and get replaced kind of thing. But the other part is more of a pie in the sky, update the rest of the control system, moving forward kind of thing. But the recorders are the dire need.
But when,
And those
as
were
far as the control, how much life expectancy do we have left?
that I have no idea. I just know the recorders are. We've had one fail. We've gotten around it. We've replaced it. But capacitors, if you look at electronics, they look like little little cylinders. They have a chemical enzyme in those. That's how those work. Well, they start to pop as they get old. That flat top, is when they're made, starts bulging out, and they stop working. And that's kind of where we're at. We're starting to fight against time, basically.
So you think we need to do this year?
If at all possible. Now, he said he does have leasing options, so that might be an option to spread it out over the course of, say, 5 years to pay for it. But whether we go with him or whether we go with another vendor, I do think it's something that we should look at doing this year, if at all possible. Obviously, we have to have those recordings.
Now, this is the same vendor company that our recorders are currently, or is this just someone?
That's somebody different.
Okay.
That's not Stanley Integrator.
Okay.
Stanley gave us a quote when we asked for about camera recorders and stuff. They said $280,000, and that was to upgrade the whole system.
That's the number I was remembering. Yeah.
This guy gave it to where we could do it. We could do the recorders, and then if we decided to upgrade the other stuff later, it would integrate with that recorder. So, I mean, they would be compatible. And
The question is though, how long will it be compatible?
that I don't know.
You know, that, I mean,
Yeah.
technology changes so quickly.
But this would use our existing cameras, and then as we go forward, we could update
Start
to
up-
newer cameras. But this would at least use what we've got now. So we would not be in a situation where we would not have recordings for some reason.
Now, do you have recording system for these cameras as well? Here in
Yeah, here in the courthouse, yeah.
Is there any way to put in one system that would
No,
handle everything?
no.
Okay.
At least not that I mean, we would still end up with 2 servers. We may be able to get 2 where we could somehow connect to it through one piece of software to where to the user it would look like one system, but it would not be one system. To in reality, it would actually be 2 separate systems with different connections. So that's the main thing. As far as the credit card machine, it doesn't actually put the payments in to Odyssey, but it does give them a report saying, okay, this person paid $100 on this ticket, so they can just go right to it and give the cause number and stuff. I wasn't sure if that was completely clear on that last one. And that's pretty much it. That's the main thing, was those for those cameras.
Do we want Michael to try to get
I'm going to try to get
at least
other
another
quotes.
quote?
Yeah, you know, looking
Yeah.
for.
We had you had that Stanley quote.
Yeah, we got the Stanley quote. I'm going to give Keka IT is Jeremy Caldwell's his name. I think it was Caldwell. He used to work for Grandview Pharmacy and Eldridge doing IT. He has his own little IT group. I'm going to have him quote. I'm going to have Ron Best quote and see what they can come up with, and see what kind of ideas they've got. I really don't know what else really we can do. And then I've also gotten quotes from them, from Keka and Ron Best, about pulling wiring for the assessor's office and wiring for the clerk's office, from where they've moved things around. I'll get with you, one of you guys, to see if we can pull that money from the building fund somewhere, or if it's not really more of an IT thing, it's really more of a building thing, in my opinion. But I wanted to talk to you guys before I brought it to you for approval, so we can decide what we want to do. So,
Great.
okay, any other questions for me?
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
as they say in Monopoly, I go directly to jail.
Ms. Sanders, you have an update for us?
Yes, I just want to let you know that on the opioid litigation, is going forward. It's been set for trial, the first trial setting, so it might not happen in September of 2019. As of now, all motions to dismiss by the defense has been dismissed, which is good. So they are proceeding. Discovery is kind of ongoing. I've given initial discovery to the attorneys handling our county. I expect that it'll be ongoing as discovery continues and depositions take place. But I just wanted to let you know there's actually a trial date set, so it is moving forward, which also means that time restrictions are starting as well. So September 2019, I have a feeling that it won't happen then. It'll be moved to 2020, but it has been set for trial.
At least there is a date.
There is a date,
Okay.
and that takes place in Cleveland, is where that federal court is.
Are there any questions pertaining to that? Ann? Do you have anything else for us, Ann, at this time?
No.
Actually, I got in a hurry with Joanne. I forgot to ask for the minutes to be approved for previous meeting.
I knew you'd get around it.
Yeah.
We was testing.
You tested me, wasn't you?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented of the previous meeting. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Is there any mail? Anybody have any mail? I have. Oh, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Mr. Rader, I forgot all about you. Skipped right over it, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Afternoon, sir.
I have a couple things to talk about today. The first one is I'm needing permission to apply for a couple grants to help our participants. One's for the Whitewater Valley REMC grant, that's $500, and the other one's for Fayette County Foundation grant, which is $500. And this grant will be used to help with clothing for participants when they're released from jail, fee, if they can't afford some of their fees, we could help them with that. So, and the grant for the Whitewater Valley REMC is not due until April.
One question comes to mind, Doug. The grants, if they go through the county, they'll have to go through a claims process to be paid out. Does that work for what you're wanting to do, or?
Diane, is that what Paul's wanting to do with that, or do you know?
I have not talked to the judge personally yet. As long as we have permission to use the county credit card, I think
that's going to be fine.
Purchase.
Do it through that?
We're also going to use the township trustee as well.
Okay.
To help purchase clothes, and then this money can help purchase more like tools and belts, things we can't purchase very inexpensively.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'll move to give Doug our permission to pursue the drug court grant.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the request for the 2 grant applications. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I think we can move down to old business. First on our agenda is board appointments. I don't know how you gentlemen want to proceed. Whether you want to take one each board or go down through here and just stick in names and then approve the whole slate, or
I'll just go down and have some more and do it all at one time.
okay.
The easiest one.
If we do that, then on the Everton Regional Sewer Board, we have Dwayne Brandenburg's term is up, Mandy Wolf's term is up, and Bill Blue has resigned. His term is through the 9/29 of 20. We have been requested to place Debbie Kidd to replace Bill Blue. Dwayne Brandenburg and Mandy Wolf would like to be reappointed, and that is the recommendation of the board. Then we have under the Area Planning Commission, we have a commissioner appointment, which I'm down as that appointment. We have the extension agent and or the surveyor appointment. We have, in the past, it's been very beneficial to have the surveyor there, and we've always put the surveyor in that position on the APC board, which would be Bill Mackey. Then we have a citizens appointment that, and I didn't learn this until this week, that citizens appointment for the Area Planning Commission is also an automatic appointment to the BZA. And we have several names that have spoke interest in that. Leota King, Shane Goff, Craig Mossberg, Jabin Collins, Karen Tower, Joe Schultz has spoke of interest for that position.
You might also mention too, Gary, that I've had inquiries from people that said they didn't have a preference. That if we needed somebody to appoint on a board, they would be available.
Okay.
So, you know, we've wound up with more people willing to serve on various boards than we have positions for, which is a good thing. That'll give us a pool of talent to draw on in the future, I hope.
Fayette County Community Development, Leota has been serving in that position. It's Dale, you've kind of been penciled in to take that position. The Fayette County Health Board, Joel Long's term was up at the end of the year. He is a citizen's appointment. He has voiced his wishes to be reappointed, and I've talked with them, and Dr. White says he participates quite well with the board. Dr. Metz's term is up. Dr. White was unable to get a hold of him, and he said he, in the past few years, have not showed much interest. He has asked Dr. Christie if he would be interested. That is a dentist appointment. And Dr. Christie has accepted that offering, if we so desire. Then the Fayette County Board of Finance, the president of the commissioners sit on that board, so that'd be, I've been penciled in there. Council of Aging and Aged, Leota was sitting on that board. Dale, you've been penciled in there. That works for everybody.
Appropriately.
Cemetery Commission. I think we've had a few names. Jane, you had one, I don't think matched what Dale had heard or had talked with.
One that Mark had given me, Jay McAtee.
Yeah.
McAtee, yeah.
McAfee. What's his first name?
Jay?
Jay McAtee.
Jay McAfee.
McAtee.
Yes.
And then you had a couple of people that...
There had been a name forwarded to me, and I called this fella just yesterday, and he decided he didn't think that would be an assignment he wanted right now.
Okay.
So you've already vetted this McAtee fella?
Yes.
He's willing
Oh, yes.
able to serve and to do that for you? Okay.
Let's
So
pencil him in. And then Christie wants back on, right?
Well, see, that's our confusion is if we have 5-year appointments, Christie's not up for reappointment. She just joined our board in October of 16.
Yeah, but she was to fill a spot.
I'm not sure.
If I remember right.
That's what I'm thinking.
This list that I'm reading from here says that 4 positions on the Cemetery Commission expire in 2021, and only 1 expires at the end of 2018. I don't know, it's hard for me to believe that that's correct, that 4 or 5 board members' terms would expire in the same year. I don't think this is correct.
Right.
So sometime in the near future, I think we need to give this some attention and get everyone's terms
Go back into some
aligned
history
where
of the
they should
minutes.
be.
Yeah. But Melissa Spillers has resigned,
Yes.
correct? So it's a vacant spot.
Yes.
And then we've had an open spot,
Yes.
correct?
Which is what Jay McAtee is doing.
Okay. Okay.
So you're one person short still?
Yes, we still need 1 more
All right.
able-bodied appointment.
Well, just in case your history, we find out through the minutes and whatnot that Christie's is up the 18th and she was just filling or completing someone's term, I'd like to go ahead and make sure that we continue her as far as make it official.
Yeah.
And then through your research, if you find out some different dates, then we can correct this. So, Dale, I thought, didn't you have two names, possibilities, or you never could get a hold of the second one?
The second one was a lady that I haven't been able to get a hold of, but after talking to Amy the other day, she says they really need 2 able-bodied men on that board. So you've got one, and we could kind of hold that position open until we get another able-bodied man to handle the chainsaws and the heavy stuff for you.
Yes.
So then let's mark one of those positions still open, and
Okay.
we'll continue with the idea of Christie being reapproved, appointed, and then we'll put pencil J in there as well for the final vote.
Sure.
And then we have the Fayette County Economic Development Board. Leota was serving in that term. We've got Dale penciled in there, if that's okay with everybody.
And that is the EDG board, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because there's 2 economic boards.
One of them, I think we found out the commission no longer exists.
I think so.
Or that's what I penciled in here. And then the Fayette County Alcoholic Beverage Board, between the council and the commissioners, our appointments need to be opposite parties. The council's appointment, as far as I know, will remain as Barton Barker. Our appointment has been Dale Lanning, and I believe he is interested in continuing that, if it's our pleasure.
I did speak to him a couple of days ago, and he said that he was willing to continue if we wanted him to.
Okay. Fayette County Extension Board and the Fayette County 4-H Council, Mark's been serving in that. I assume you want to continue, Mark?
Yeah.
For those 2 boards. The Redevelopment Commission has been in the past as needed, but the mayor has reinstituted that commission, and he asked me, I think last year or the year before, if we actually had an appointment for that board, and I told him no, I didn't think so currently, but I have you penciled in, Dale, if you'd be willing to help with that.
That's okay with me.
And then the Economic Development Commission, I think we determined that was the one that no longer exists. So we need to kind of get that scratched off our books, totally. The 911 Advisory Board, I've been serving in that capacity. I got myself penciled into it. The Local Elected Officials Alliance for Strategic Growth. Leota was serving in that. Dale, I've got you penciled in there.
I don't know what they do, but
I'm
I'll
not
probably
sure.
find out or report back to you.
And through my research and Michelle confirming it today, the Community Corrections Advisory Board, by statute, we don't have a position on that board. We have several appointments, but we don't have. So that really needs to be scratched out of there. And then my discussions with the mayor the other day, the Fayette County First Aid Unit Rate Review and Revisions Committee, his plans continues that'll be taken out of our interlocal agreement, so that board's no longer used because their rates they establish their rates by Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement. Fayette County Child Protection Team, the president serves on that board. Fayette County Tax Abatement Advisory Committee, Jane has been on that appointment in the past, and I assume you're willing to continue. Public Defenders Board, Mark has been serving on that board. Then the Tourism Board, our appointment, refresh my memory, that's
Lindsay Brooks.
Lindsay Brooks is up, was up the 31st. She would like to be reappointed. She's interested in continuing that. And then all three of us sit on the Solid Waste Board. And then the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. Leota had been serving on that as commissioner. Scott Bevington, Carol Hunter, Dale Strong, and Kay Riker have all been serving as at-large members. I've penciled in Dale replacing Leota as commissioner, and Leota replacing Dale as at-large. I'm assuming Carol Hunter would like to continue. Scott Bevington did send me an email requesting that he continue. I was wondering, so that we get a few more non-elected officials involved, I was wondering if we might be interested in seeking out an ag-related citizen to sit on that board as well. But it's whatever the pleasure of the board is on that.
Well, we've got one member that's up for, that expires in 18 sitting right here. Okay, was you intent on remaining on the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission?
Yeah, and Leota appointed me for that position, not because I was on council, but because of my job with the, my 40-hour-a-week job with the drug education.
Does she qualify as a agriculture-related? She knows all about hog farms, don't you, Kay?
Yeah.
So if you want to write that back in, that's fine. Continue with Kay.
Yeah, if she wants to stay, I have no objection.
I was an FFA too, Bill.
Pardon?
I was an FFA too.
Okay.
And that, as far as my list, that exhausts my list. Is that, did we cover everybody that you have on your?
Yes.
So really, the only ones that the only one that's up for discussion that maybe we need to look at separate would be the area planning and the BZA appointment, citizens appointment.
Certainly, the area planning and BZA, we had more people, more interest shown in those two boards than any other. But the particular seat that has to be filled is a dual position seat.
Yes.
It has to be APC and BZA to fill the vacancy left by Jason Waterman. And I don't think some of the people that expressed interest in one board or the other realized that it was a dual appointment.
Nor did I until
Yeah.
I researched it a little better.
Yeah, but since she's been serving there for some time, I don't know exactly how long, and there's nothing in her past record indicating that she would be anything other than certainly qualified and up to date. I would nominate Leota King to fill the position being vacated by Jason Waterman, which is a dual appointment to the APC and the BZA.
I'll second it.
There's a motion made and seconded that we appoint Leota King to the BZA and the APC Commission as the citizen appointment. Is there any other discussion or question? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Okay.
If that completes our list, I'll make a motion that we approve the entire list then, as you have read them all.
Okay.
I'll second that.
There's a motion made and seconded that we approve the appointments as read off. Is there any other questions or discussions? The only thing I might say is I appreciate the response that we got. I think it paid off for us to wait 2 weeks on these appointments because it helped us see that there are people in the community that are interested in helping with the county government, and I greatly appreciate their interest.
Now, we still have one appointment open on the cemetery board, right?
Yes, we would still have one.
If you would get the paper, maybe they could advertise for preferably a male for heavy work.
Is there any other discussions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. We had advertised before the first of the year for our feasibility study for our DOC needs with purchasing the Dollar General store and building the old Dollar General store building. We have currently received 3 offers to bid for the feasibility study. I don't know if everybody's seen all 3 of them, or
I haven't
do we
even-
want to ask Jane to make copies of all 3 and then we can read through them over the next 2 weeks? And
I would certainly like to read them. Sure.
okay, all right. Because I think, if I remember right, there's quite a difference in prices.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'd like to look at the details
Yeah.
of it, if that's okay with everybody.
Motion for that?
You want to table?
Table until next week.
Okay.
I'll move to table.
No, I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded that we table the feasibility study offers that we've received. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. All right, we'll move on to new business. Mr. Robertson, you have some information for our bridge inventories?
I got some big books to give you.
Oh, boy. I'd just like to have the little thumb drive.
That's in there. There's 2 orders, one in each. I'll give you there, and I'll give you that one. And the little thumb drive is in there.
Oh, this is phase 2.
This is phase 2. There's our transmittal line. Dick Robertson with SJCA. Just wanted to drop off the Phase 2 bridge inspection for you. It is now completed. I will let you just take the time to look through it, look at what you have. I encourage you all to do that, especially the list of priorities. You got about 3 bridges of priority, number 90, which you've already got out with a firm designing that one. Number 10 and number 21, I think it is, 2 others that you ought to be looking at as funding is available and so forth. We will be doing a Phase 2A, which is looking at the bridges. There's a few bridges that you're going to have to inspect every 12 months. Every county has those today. Just there's not very many of those. You don't have very many of those. That's a report we just share with the superintendent or the engineer, whoever you have at that time. So anyway, take the time. You got any questions, give me a buzz. I'll answer what questions I have for you. It's pretty extensive. It's not like it used to be when the days I was in the highway business and looking through it and stuff, but they haven't changed a whole lot, just some of the numbers and the way they do things by federal aid today. So, like I say, take a look at it. Got any questions, please give us a call. Okay?
Now, we will be preparing to start all over.
You should be preparing to be probably the end of this year.
Yeah, that's what
being ready to prepare to start going through those next year.
Next year.
To start 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, keep that in mind because you'll want to be able to do that, so.
So out of this report summing up, really there's only 3 bridges that need immediate.
Not real immediate. 90 does need immediate. That's the highest one. You got 2 more that are need replacement of some kind, and I can't say immediate because that's all based on what funding you have available.
Right.
So, yeah, those are the next 2 that need to be in line.
Okay.
There's a couple in there that need some work by the highway department. Need to go in and do some work around the piers and so forth. I think it was Bridge 50 and 75. I think those are the 2 numbers. They need to look at those. All the ones that need posting have been posted and changed. We gave Warren those directions months ago when we were doing the inspection, and those have already been taken care of, I understand. So, okay. So, like I say, if you've got anything else, please give us a holler.
Anything else for that?
No, this is plenty enough for one.
Yeah, it's a lot of boring reading, you know, so.
At least it's got pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Next, how about we get Brian in?
Good afternoon.
School Corporation.
Thank you. Brian Hensley with the Fayette County School Corporation. I had a presentation, but the IT guy ran out and had to go back to jail apparently. So what I'm requesting today is a waiver of the building permit fees for our Spartan Activity Center. It's going to be erected at the high school. We currently have an open campus concept to where we're a lot of different buildings and students move around. So the activity center is kind of serving a couple purposes. One, it's helping us enclose our courtyard area, so there's a safety factor. And 2, it's around 30,000 square feet of, there's 3 basketball courts. One is a wood competition court. The other 2 are a composite material. There's going to be dividers between each court so we can put in batting cages. It's really a multi-use facility. We'll also hold the Parks and Rec basketball leagues up there. So it's not just for the high school, it's more of a community building. So that's our request today, is to request the waiver of the building permit fees for that project.
Wouldn't it just be cheaper to build a wall?
Yeah. Well, we could shut the government down and do that, I guess. But, so,
I just had to add that.
No, that's no problem. And I did want to say that I appreciate the board, you waived the fees for the solar field as well. So that project is nearing completion. So we look to go live there on February 16th with the solar project. So.
I'll move to waive the building permit for the school.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded that we waive the building fees for the Spartan Activity Center at the high school project. Is there any other questions for Brian or comments?
Brian, do you expect this project to get underway fairly soon?
Yeah, actually, we're leaving this meeting to go to kind of a kickoff meeting for the project. So we're looking at completion December of 19. So, and to be starting fairly quickly.
So they'll work all summer on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got our general contractor's already been identified, and so we're knee deep into it now. So.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Now remember, that was your one.
That's right.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the proposed contract with the Cooperative Extension Service. I don't know if I assume everyone has received that copy. I, for one, am a little bit concerned about it. I was under the understanding that this contract was for 2 full-time people, and it's my understanding that they've shared our 4-H agent, or our youth agent, excuse me, now with Union County, Purdue has.
I'd like to table that until we can find this out,
Okay,
until the next meeting.
okay, all right.
Do I need a motion?
Okay, I'll second that. No, we don't need to get in a hurry on that.
No, we don't,
Because we want to find out what we're getting exactly.
for the,
Yeah.
this contract is for $43,720, and normally that this contract subsidizes Purdue Extension, and in turn, they furnish us with two full-time people. And so I'd like to make sure that that's what we're gonna get for this money, so. Motion to table and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. So we'll take a look at that hopefully next meeting, and if not, it may take us longer. We have the contracts that we have normally been utilizing with the 3 rural fire departments. Yearly contracts, they help us with response to highway issues as far as down trees or anything like that. They help us remove those, and we need to make sure that we have those back in place if we desire to utilize the fire department. That contract pays for their services for the year, $5,000 to each fire department for that service, and that's paid from the highway funds.
I've looked them over, and there's no objection. I'll move to approve the 2019 contract with Bentonville, Glenwood, and Everton Volunteer Fire Departments for 2019.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the 3 contracts. Is there any other questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. We have the proposed Pulper attorney contracts. We currently have 6.5?
Yes.
6.5 contracts with Pulper attorneys. Those contracts, the full contract is for $50,000. The half contract is for $25,000. I guess I question whether, I know Paul talked to us last year and was concerned about the caseloads, and we did increase that by 1.5 contracts last year. I don't know if before we go off and approve these, if we want to maybe question whether this is actually going to be enough to satisfy the state. We do receive reimbursements from the state, and last year that totaled, you had that wrote down, didn't you, Jane?
Yeah, $137,900.
Of the $325,000 that we paid out was reimbursed. Now and last year, the reason we were kind of backed in a corner by the state, they come down on us kind of hard and said if we didn't increase our contracts, then we jeopardized our reimbursements. I guess I don't want to get blindsided again this year.
Yeah, they have subtle ways of threatening.
Yeah.
On us. If I recall right, wasn't at least half of a contract, Jane, that was covered by a grant last year or not? Was the
No.
drug court? The drug court
had a grant?
They have a separate, in addition to the ones that we are contracting, they have their own that they.
Oh, okay.
Pulper attorney. Yeah, yeah.
So that one is not included in this list?
No.
Okay. All right. I don't particularly like the language about $1,000 a day for trial and $600 a day for other duties. Did you read that?
I haven't got a chance to read completely through them, no.
No. I don't know if that language is new or not. I'd have to go back and look
Yeah,
at
I'd
the
like
old
to,
contract.
I would like to look at the old contracts.
I have had no communication with anybody on the Pauper Attorney Board. You're on the board, aren't you?
Neither am I.
Okay, so this is just what Ralph has sent, and we don't know,
Yeah.
well,
Personally, I think it's worth asking some questions and holding off.
yeah,
But-
but at the same time, I don't want these attorneys getting nervous now between now and our first meeting in February, and whether or not they're going to be paid.
Mhm.
We're going to have to honor their claims, but clarification on some of this language wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Sure.
How does it sound to you?
Yeah, it should be through
Do we want Jane to send maybe Ralph an email requesting some time with us,
Or
or?
we could at least go back and read the old contracts and see how they compare to the new version.
Yeah.
And see if there is any change or not.
Sure.
But the council did appropriate $325,000.
But I wonder if,
But we didn't appropriate for the $1,000 a day language and the $600 a day language.
so you read that as above and beyond?
I read that as above and beyond, yes.
Okay, well then we need to question that, I think, and look and see if that's changed.
Do you want
Do you want to table?
to, yeah, table it until next meeting?
Copy to our lawyer here and let her approve.
She's one of the contracted people.
Huh?
She is one of the contracted people.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure she's going to approve it.
The contract is as I recall, the language is the same as last year's. I don't recall there being any change, but.
Can you, what he's referring to, can you
That is exactly. the same.
define or kind of ad lib on what that basically means?
$1,000 for a jury trial is cheap. By private, what he's talking about is like special hearings, like a jury trial, which we just had one last week, which was probably the first one in 9 months, just to give you an idea of how rare they are. And that wasn't even a public defender case, but I believe it's $1,000 for a jury trial, $600 for a court trial, $600. These are the longer hearings that are going to take anywhere from half a day to a full day. Jury trials sometimes take multiple days. I believe fact-finding hearings, so that would be Chen's cases, are $600. Civil commitments, $600. These are going to be ones that not everybody's even qualified to do. There are certain things. Well, the state won't reimburse you guys for attorneys who aren't qualified. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is qualified to do a jury trial by themselves. Not everybody is qualified to do Chen's cases or civil commitments. So those
That's
are
where
kind
the
of special
case
hearings.
assignments come in at.
And those type of hearings, like I said, all of those across the board, probably you're going to run into total a handful a year. Like I said, I'm thinking the max I've heard is 2 juries in 1 year. Bench trials are a little bit more common, but that might be 5 or 6 in a year, 6 in a year. So they're pretty rare hearings that get to build that extra.
Jane, I'm sure we can research as far as claims and look back and see what's been submitted in the past couple of years to see if there's been any of those extra charges and how much we've had to budget for or had to find money for.
I believe the extra charges go through the individual courts. I don't think we pay
That's my understanding.
extra.
They're
Well, I
paid
had a-
by the
I had an
their
issue
court
this
budgets.
past week, if that helps. I had an issue past week on what to charge for a different type of hearing, and talking to Jane and talking to Judge Brandstetter and Mr. Eldridge, the money comes out of the court budget.
I see.
So it was an involuntary
That's why we
commitment
don't see
hearing
it.
that is $600, and I bill through the court.
I see.
So if that helps at all, I just recall that's kind of on the same note, and I just had this issue, so last week.
How did we establish the cost of the contract itself? I mean, wasn't there some hourly rates figured in or
I think it was hourly
calculated?
rates and probably comparing caseloads and what other counties
Okay.
charge. Comparable amounts.
Okay.
Also, I think it probably was cheaper, I know back, and I know Rush County still does it this way to some extent, is it's completely hourly, which would end up being a lot more expensive, I think, than the contracts, you know.
That's what we've been told in the past.
Yes. I can't imagine it not coming out better for the county to have the contracts. And like I said, there's also a way, with you getting the reimbursement, there's also a way for you to have, you know, to know exactly what qualifications each attorney has that's been awarded a contract, because they keep pretty tight rein on that.
What's our pleasure? Do we still want more answers? Do you want to act on today, or?
Well, my main concern is I don't want to have to cause the council members to have to ponder an additional appropriation later in the year. We could have done anything today to prevent the possibility of it. Now, whether or not, if the $1,000 and $600 a day language is not new, and is that what you're saying, that it is in the
It's old language.
old language of the contract? If it's not new, then it's something that's been going on periodically all along. Yeah, I guess we could.
I'm going to go ahead and approve the contracts for the attorneys, pauper attorneys.
Okay, I'll second the motion to go ahead and approve pauper attorney contracts.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 yes. Okay. Does the board have any other new business to come before us today? I have one thing that I might mention that kind of went under mail and I kind of skipped over it. I received an email from the Fayette County Foundation, and it's an information that pertaining to their grant applications, and I just wanted to remind everyone that is filing grant applications with the Fayette County Foundation Board, that those grant letters of intent are due Friday, January 18th at noon at their office. Also, and then, so I didn't forget that, I wanted to speak on that. Then we had, is John Weiler here today? No, I don't think he is. And then we've got Amy representing Brumfield, representing the Cemetery Commission.
Are you ready?
Yep. The floor is yours.
Thanks. Well, I promise my reports won't be as big as those huge binders, but still they do have pictures, so they're fun.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on top, you'll find that's just like our review from the year of our accomplishments. And I would like to say thank you for our appointment of Jay McAtee. You can see his accomplishments in there as well this year for his, or last year, for his volunteering at Hilltop Cemetery in Orange Township. And thank you for moving our line items around so we were able to go and purchase more equipment that we needed. We don't turn in gas receipts and stuff like that, so I appreciate that. I do have a question. I wasn't sure if we need to update our insurance waivers for our volunteers. Do those need to be updated yearly, or?
I think that would be a question for Ann.
Just up that. Contracts, do we need to update yearly?
Our insurance waivers we use for our volunteers.
Should they be signed yearly with each volunteer?
I would feel more comfortable with a yearly.
Okay, and do I still take those to Wilson, Lawson, Myers?
Yes, that
Yeah.
would be our insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. There's a pin. Okay. And then it's time to update our packet and take bids to open the bidding for the 2019 mowing season. With that, we did have a good year with Corey again. There were a few things that could have been done differently. I'm hoping to find a better way of accountability for these, you know, to make sure that everything's done in a timely manner.
Are you wanting to go ahead and advertise for the bidding?
Yes. Our contract, I believe, is from April 1st through October 31st. So we should probably advertise that soon so we can go through the bid packets.
You had some ideas on how you wanted to advertise?
Well, after thinking about that, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. It would be nice to have a breakdown, but I realize that is going to take some time. So I just wouldn't know how to.
I mean, Corey could honestly give you a true bid. I mean, because he's mowed them, he knows the hours that it's involved, and
that's what I thought. That's what I asked, and he said he just gave us a one lump sum deal. So,
and but others would not have the slightest idea. So you may not, like I said, told you,
right?
It may be questionable whether you'd get anybody to actually bid on it. But would there be a motion to allow Amy and the Cemetery Commission to create an advertisement and through Jane place that advertisement for care?
I'll make a motion when we do that.
A second.
There's a motion made and seconded to allow the Cemetery Commission to go ahead and create their bid advertisement and publish that through Jane.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
I think the bid packet that we had last year, you know,
Well,
it'll
wasn't
be
there,
fine.
was it last year or in 17, there was some confusion and we
It
had
was
to
this-
re-advertise?
This last year,
Okay.
in
all right.
2018.
So we've corrected those
Yes.
errors and, okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember what, I knew there was some problems and I couldn't remember exactly what it was.
But, so on the issue of John Weiler, he didn't, was that approved? Did everyone approve that?
We haven't signed claims, it's in this,
Yeah.
this claim docket. We
It will
haven't
be.
approved
Okay.
claims yet.
Okay.
It'll be at the end of the meeting.
Sure, it will be. I'm sorry.
And we spoke about that, and we have spoke to Corey, so we're not going to ask at this time for reimbursement. So then our next thing would be reporting on the issue of Wiley Chapel. As you may or may not know, there have been 2 burials since July. One burial in question, or one burial was with a member of the family that bought the plots in 2012 and didn't cash their check. So, in their minds, they still own those plots. So they did use one of those. It's my understanding that Commissioner King gave them permission to do that. And then in October, the issue with that is it's moved past this family. In 2017, I was asked to, well, there wasn't really a committee per se, but I did speak with the different funeral directors and the family to try to come to some sort of happy medium about their 6 plots that were out there. And now it has moved beyond that to other people being buried there, pauper graves that I can't 100% identify. And I do have a letter that I have enclosed in your packet from to Pat Suman, who was a former secretary of the cemetery board, from Richie Flum. And I understand that over the years you get new commissioners and, that come and go and things get kind of jumbled around. But it does state that after their attorney had looked into the matter, that it says, since then we have been advised by our attorney to put a halt to burials in cemeteries not properly mapped, which have been advised by our attorney, which includes Wiley Chapel. A refund is being made for those plots. And in regards to, we had discussed having ground penetrating radar done out there to, make a plot map and possibly sell plots in the cemetery, which absolutely can be done. I have contacted 2 places that do the ground penetrating radar, and I'm still waiting for a return call for their estimates. But the funeral directors have yearly, updated laws for, their things for funeral directors. There's one called the Summary of the Cemetery Act, and it does say that, you know, plots could be sold there, but all cemeteries must be platted and recorded within the county recorder's office before any plots can be sold. So it's my recommendation, and I'm asking that once again we put a halt to the burials at Wiley Chapel, at least until we can do some more fact-finding, researching, and possibly get the ground penetrating radar done. And also with the last burial, he was, the funeral director was given permission to do so, but was told to charge the family either $240 or $250 and deposit into the cemetery fund at the courthouse, and I don't think that's been done yet.
You say you don't think that the money charged for the burial plot was turned in? Is that what you're saying, or?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, the commissioners own the cemetery.
Yes.
Is there deeds being issued for these burial plots?
To my knowledge, there was not. And without the proper deeds, it's just like buying a piece of real estate. When you buy a cemetery plot, it's like, just like your real estate, you get a deed to that property. And to my knowledge, none of those things were issued.
Someone should have title of ownership to that piece of ground, you know?
Well, I believe it is Fayette County's property.
The cemetery is.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But if a plot is sold, then the purchaser should also get.
They should get a receipt, but then
They should get
we
something.
should have a receipt coming back showing that was paid for.
Yeah.
And it also states that cemeteries that are open, they must maintain a perpetual care fund, and which means it would need to have its own board. Like if you did allow burials out there after it was properly mapped, it would need its own board so that they could collect the monies and record the deeds and record the burials, because the state wants to know who's buried where.
Yeah, I would think it'd be the same procedure as any other operating cemetery.
Yes. And if that is the case, I mean, if we're going to start burials out there, then it wouldn't necessarily, I don't think it would fall under the Cemetery Commission's criteria.
Right.
Well, it seems like there's been some controversy at Wiley Chapel for quite some time.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem to matter what rules are made.
Well, in your opinion, do you think that, are we in compliance with current state statute and regulations that pertain to these matters or not?
Not as long as burials are being out there and there are no plot maps. No, we are not. And especially the areas in which the last two burials took place, they're getting, I mean, there is a wide open space that, you know, could be, but without the proper mapping, again, it's not 100%. It appears to be open. But the areas in which the last two burials were put there, they are not. They're in the old part, and the last one is just 4 feet away from another burial for another family. I mean, it's just getting out of control.
Does the cemetery commission have a recommendation of any sort for us, Jay?
Yes, I mean, it would be my recommendation to make it known that, you know, as for right now, you know, there cannot be any more burials there. We're not in compliance with state law. I mean, if the attorney would like to look up, you know, cemetery laws and about plotted cemeteries and selling plots, then I'm sure she would find the same. So, I mean, we could,
I guess my concern is my first tenure as commissioner, we sent a same letter similar to this, that there was no more burials in our cemeteries currently, and the burials continued. 2012, there was a letter sent out by the Board of Commissioners that said there will not be any more burials. I believe, gentlemen, we need to do more than just send letters out.
Well, you have a problem though. They sold lots off, and people's got receipts for these lots, and what do we do about those?
well, the county returned every,
Yeah, but if they don't cash that check, it's still theirs.
well, did they receive a deed for those plots?
See, that's what,
That would be my question, is if they received a
I know
legal
one case where
deed.
the money was refunded and they're not cashing the check because they don't want to take, they don't want it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against
Yeah.
selling plots, but I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And the legal way.
Yeah, certainly.
So really what you need to do is have them lots verified with that ground penetrating radar is what should be done with the ones that won't turn them back in. I would say, I don't know.
But
It's a
meanwhile,
weird
something
job.
needs to be done to stop the burials. And I don't know if that's something that we're gonna have to turn over to Ann.
But the county owns the cemetery, and to the best of my knowledge, nobody representing the county around here is authorized to sell plots.
Correct.
So-
Legally.
Legally. So if someone else is selling them, they're not doing it.
Right. But like I said, I mean, the commissioners of the past have addressed it, and it still hasn't done any good because they continue to happen. I know there, I think there was a burial in 2017, right after I took office.
Yes.
And you've stated there's been another one.
Two more.
Two more since that.
Since July, the last one being
Yes.
October.
This is how the last one happened. But we just, legally, we just don't have that authority yet,
Not
without
till we
making.
find out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got some research to do. And it's very possible that Amy already has in her possession a lot of information that would help us decide what direction to go there.
I do.
And as far as the ground penetrating radar, do you know how expensive that sort of thing is?
I don't. I'm still waiting, and hopefully, you know, they can give us an estimate. But I am still reading in these laws. I know that one says any cemetery that was plotted after 1956. So everything, what we're dealing with is before, but I don't know how it would be different for a pioneer cemetery as a vintage, I guess is what you would call the 50s. But it does state that you have to plot the whole cemetery and it has to be mapped. So I'm looking and digging just to make sure, because like I said, it would save us a lot of money if we could just do the half that appears to be open.
Or at least establish a line that
Yes.
says nothing behind this line,
Yes.
you know, can be sold, yeah. I agree with that thought, but my only concern is letters have not stopped it.
Well, I think we can find a way to put everything on hold here until we can establish whether people are being buried on top of each other or not.
Well, and that was another thing, speaking to one of the funeral directors, if upon opening a grave, remains are found, you cannot just cover it back up. You have to notify the Department of Natural Resources within 48 hours. And then there is a reburial process that they have to go through. It can't just be, oops, and then cover it back up.
I guess my biggest concern is, for the most part, you're probably not gonna find remains.
There will be bones.
I mean, as old as some of them are, but the ground penetrating radar, it shows ground disturbance.
Yes. It can show.
As well as any,
Yes.
if I understand it right.
If they have it set to a high enough frequency, it can detect an infant that was buried 180 years ago. So it would be, you know, I mean, it's not going to show it. It just shows like little waves in the ground disturbance. But
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, they may be doing current burials and digging holes that they'll never find any physical evidence, but the ground penetrating radar would pick up evidence that there was disturbance there and was
Yes.
something done.
Yes.
And that would be my concern, is they may dig 20 holes out there and never hit anything, but they may actually be pioneer graves.
Right. And he says, you know, he probes everyone before, and if you have 100-year-old pine box, you know, that has been in the ground for 100 years, when you stick a metal probe through there, you're not going to feel, or even, you know, the void on the inside, you're not going to feel that go through. So it would be my recommendations to halt all burials at Wiley Chapel until we can get it properly mapped, and then we can open it up for sales.
Well, if I understand what I see here right, back in, at least by 2012, Wiley Chapel was, and all pioneer cemeteries were declared closed. And the only thing we can do right now is just not give permission to anyone for burial until we can get this straightened out.
There are cemeteries. I mean, it is not illegal to bury in a pioneer cemetery if it is properly mapped. Like Bentonville, Columbia, Dale. I mean, I'm not sure about the year of Dale, but Everton, Lick Creek, Orange. Those are all pioneer cemeteries that they have a board and that oversees
own
and
association and board.
Yes, and they have plot maps as well. The only one that, you know, other than those that is private would be Webb Cemetery on Mike Hudson's property.
Where do we go?
Let's ask Amy, is there anything you need from us today on this?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's a little bit longer? Just, you know, I mean, no.
If that one in the commissioner's thing says it is closed then it ought to be closed. And it's just not being enforced.
That's my point.
Yeah.
We're a little bit lax on enforcement.
I mean,
What would you do? Send a letter to the undertaker, tell them they can't bury it? Is that what we need to do or what?
Yeah, I would say we could write a letter. I mean, I have a feeling they're breaking several, not just ordinances, but they're probably getting into some sort of illegal disposal of a body situation, so definitely something that needs to stop, you know? I would say since it's a small community, I would think sending a letter would be,
Now,
would stop it. I mean, you know.
Who ought do we send it to? Because you could have people from neighboring counties burying them too.
Oh, that's true. Especially if they want to bury there and decide to go out of county to find somebody who's willing to bury there.
No, there have been people that want to be buried there. And, you know, they call me, you know, very upset that, you know, they can't buy a plot, yet, you know, these other people are being buried there, and pauper graves. And then the latest person that was buried there wasn't even a Fayette County resident, or even raised in Fayette County. But that funeral home said that he didn't think that we could close it because that would be separation of church and state, but there's no church there. There's not been a church there in 50 years or more, so I don't think that applies. And
the county actually owns
this property.
This
yes.
property.
Yes. So
and the plots. So these are family members going to funeral homes. I guess what I'm.
Just one funeral home is burying there. The other two will not.
So we have
What may
two that are honoring the 2012
yes.
letter of agreement. And
yes.
Okay. And what?
I'd say send them a copy of that minutes plus burying. Be the best thing we can do.
I mean, yeah, I can think of about 3 different.
I have all
ways
kinds.
This is.
I have all kinds of research and paperwork that I could copy and drop off to you with your permission, so that she could.
Yeah, we need to take care of it because eventually it's going to catch up to us.
Well, it already has.
Yeah,
I mean, since
big time.
Yes, yes.
I have no problem with that information. If you want the letter to come from the county attorney, I have no problem compiling that, and then I can attach to the letter the prior commissioner's finding.
Well, it's not only that, I think we have statutes that
Yeah, plus there are
control it.
statutes, and like I said, I think it's more than just.
Until we make those steps, I mean.
The
commissioners have full authority to stop it.
How many state codes are being broken by doing this?
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would have no problem with getting a letter to that. As far as we know, it's only one.
One funeral home?
Right.
Yes. And then the matter of the money that they were supposed to charge for that last burial. I mean, maybe that's why it wasn't deposited. I don't know.
I've never seen anything in the records around here what the price of a burial plot is.
Well, I believe it said in there that they were selling them for $250 a piece. And I believe that's what Leota told them to charge the family and then to deposit it here at the courthouse.
What's the pleasure?
Well, we're not, obviously not compliant. We need to get compliant as soon as we can.
Do we, and to draw up a letter then?
Yeah. Do that.
And speak of codes violations and
Yes, codes, statutes.
statutes.
I'm sure that there's a slew of violations. Yeah.
Do we want to allow Amy to meet with Ann if necessary? And
Sure, yeah.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
And do you have any idea when you'll know what a ground penetrating radar survey would cost?
Cost?
And be available?
Well, I was looking into the university, but I don't know if that would fall under archaeology or geology. So I'll have to do my homework on that one. But as far as I have contacted two, and I'm waiting for a call back. So, and then I think that's about it. We're excited to offer assistance to the Bicentennial Committee for their activities.
Okay, good.
I want to go back here a little bit. Do we need a motion for her to talk to her about this and get the letters out?
Whatever your pleasure is.
I'll make a motion so there'll be no reference
Okay.
to that effect.
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion made and seconded that we give Ann an opportunity to draw up a letter referencing the Pioneer Cemeteries and the legalities of current burials.
Amy can contact her.
And allow Amy to meet with Ann if necessary on that issue. Is there any other discussion or debate? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Seeing nothing else, we do have some work that we're going to have to be working on with Jay, or through Jay, and that would be this new fund requirements for the MVH funds.
Dale's in charge.
I'm
You know
hoping
why.
you've already, I was going to say, you've already heard Dale's response. And I really, I haven't researched it well enough yet. I'd like to do some more reading and some more studying, but I think maybe we might be making a mountain out of molehill, but that's to be determined late as we progress with it. But we will have to be working with that and addressing that issue fairly quickly. It's my understanding that half the funds will be distributed to each of those two MVH funds. Is that correct? So we don't currently have a budget for that new fund. So we're going to have to sit down with our approved budget by the council and look at what needs to be budget reduced and budget increased to move that money and give that proposal to the council so that they can make those changes.
Yeah. To explain that a little bit, Bob, the State Board of Accounts on December the 20th issued a new directive on how we have to account for highway funds and how they're spent. 50% goes into construction, reconstruction, preservation, and a whole list of their descriptions. And it's going to cause a different, the council is going to have to draw a budget differently in the future than they have before, and the highway department is going to have to administer differently, and the auditor's office is going to have to keep track of it differently. It's not impossible, but it's another layer of administrative bureaucracy that we didn't need and we didn't ask for. And I got a little bit exercised about it the other day, but that's
Government run amok.
that's just, that was just my opinion. We accept too much of this stuff, I think, without pushback. I'd like to push back on them on it, but so far I'm the only one complaining.
Well, my biggest concern is, over the years, we have tried to make it transparent by putting all of our material costs or our road preservation, improvements, and whatever else you said, all over in local road and street, so that
You know where
it's
the money went.
it's easier for people to look and see what money was spent on those things. And the MVH fund was used to operate the department, so to speak, the daily operations. And now they're having us, the state's forcing us to move those monies around, and it seems to me like they're making it less transparent than more.
Covering it up.
I thought we had a very open system.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Set up
I'm sure
for this
there's
county.
there's something going on in Indianapolis that we're not being told about, and it may or may not to be to our advantage in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what we're faced with.
It just adds to the frustration.
With that in mind, I would accept a motion to approve claims and payroll as presented this week.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made and properly seconded to approve claims and payroll as presented. Any discussions or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. We'll go ahead and sign that stuff, and then we'll adjourn, or I'll entertain a motion to adjourn it there, once we're done. This contract only has one signature,
Yes.
mine.
I believe the next one also only has one.
Okay. Let's skip these. They just require one signature. And then, what's this one? Oh, this, yeah, this one. This is credit card only, or this credit machine. Only require one. I think so. change. This one means. You want to get them corrected or? Oh, she did. How you want to do it? To make it.
White it out. Just go ahead and sign it.
Go ahead. Actually, no, we ever we scratched it.
Well, I was thinking it was president, vice president.
Okay. So you want me to sign the top line?
Yes.
Okay.
You missed one here, Gary.
I'm sorry. Put me next on the where you want me to sign.
That on the page, same spot. You take your shred, Mike.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is that all, Jay, that you have for us?
both claims folders, and then I didn't get the minutes back. Yeah.
Did you make a new drainage board sign copy or signature copy? Was it? I bet I did. No?
Maybe not.
No. It's not in this stack.
Okay.
But anyway.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Motion, or meeting adjourned.